What's up, everybody? This is your girl Ericka from the Classy Climb blog. I'm bringing you some special additions to our shows, and I had to bring you out a good one because I really wanted to touch on the current environment of sports. And so I'm gonna bring on my co-host, speak to us. Let us know who you are.
What's going on, Ericka? My name is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, the founder of the highest paid part-time job in the Roth Option Trading Academy. Glad to be here, Ericka, because you know I really like sports. I like to talk about the economics. So merging these two together is going to be a really good conversation.
So, my biggest thing is I think people think we're just business all the time. But if you actually see some of my texts, some of my messages, I actually am a season ticket holder to Dallas Mavericks, Dallas Stars, and probably next year some Houston Texans, just for the rivalry. I'm a Baltimore Ravens fan through and through.
Okay.
And that's because when my mother was at Walter Reed, they gave us season tickets.
Okay.
And they had a women's Wednesday.
All right.
And I always tell people when the Ray Rice thing happened, why was there so many Ray Rice jerseys? Because he was the biggest advocate for Women's Wednesday.
Okay.
And he came down all the time.
I feel you. Okay.
I feel bad for the dude. They could have gave him a little forgiveness.
Yeah.
But it didn't happen that way. So we're here in Atlanta. I don't know if you guys realize this, but we just finished the Digital Liberty Tour in Atlanta. If you missed me on the road, I feel bad for you because your girl's going on vacation and we have some projects in Belize and 2 states. So we're going to be busy this summer. Diamond Dave.
Okay.
Deion Sanders be talking that smack.
Yeah. That's what he get into.
He said, listen, I think he gave cover to somebody.
Okay.
So there is a Mississippi coach, black man said, listen, man, y'all got me running around all day, running around Mississippi, begging for money.
Yeah.
I feel like a used car salesman.
Yeah.
I'm tired of the collectibles.
Okay.
So Deion Sanders comes on and says, yeah, collectibles are a little bit weird, but I understand. For the audience that doesn't understand what collectibles are, could you describe it for people?
Yeah, so from my understanding, what it is you have a group of people that support the school, they support the athletic program. And what they do is they pull money together. Mm-hmm. And the money is designed to try to figure out what kind of athletes can we bring in that not only be attracted to the school, but to be attracted to the opportunity that we can give them financially, right? And so there's a change in how kind of college sports is working now, because as opposed to this kind of maybe being done under the table, guys being slid a few $100s here and there, this is now out in the open. And so schools may have to start competing on how big of a pot of money they can put together to get these top tier athletes.
For sure. And, I'm in Texas.
Okay.
You can throw a rock down the street. You're going to run into Elon Musk,
Yeah.
the Palantir. I want to make sure I'm saying it right. CEO is there. He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
We've got countless kind of startup, companies living there. It's not a thing to just go across the street. We have a soccer stadium and all the booths are already locked in for all the companies.
Yeah.
So I can understand if you're a school in Texas right now, it's going to be easy to get collectibles.
Exactly.
It's going to be easy to convince a kid to come through there. But some people saying that's weird.
Yeah.
Why would a business owner give $40K to a kid to come to a school?
I mean, just because he wants to see the school that he supports win. I mean, so it can become competitive. It's a sense of pride. If you went to that school, you want to see that school do well.
Right.
And so I can understand the where if you are a supporter of the school already, because these schools have already had booster programs.
Cool. Right.
It's nothing to try to figure out how can we put our school in the best position to dominate whatever sport that we want them to dominate, but also maybe bring people to the school that can be a good look for the school to try to raise the profile of the school.
Well, some people like, man, you can't be buying these kids. That's not right. Remember, I don't know if you remember when Cam Newton daddy said, these people tried to pay me.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, people put a bad smirk on it, so much so that even, what's his name, Reggie Bush?
Yeah.
He's getting his Heisman back finally.
Definitely.
And you had Money, what's his name out of A&T? Little short white dude with the
Manziel?
Money Manziel.
Yeah, Money Manziel.
And so we know it's going on.
Yeah, definitely.
We know there's a slush fund moving around.
Yeah.
Why are Southern schools, and especially I would say even Mr. formerly retired, Mr. Alabama, complaining about this?
Well, I mean, I just think that it's out in the open, but I think there's a 2-part to the story where we know that these kids have always been getting money.
Right.
Like, again, I told you, I know a guy out of this area, the Atlanta metro area, that got paid $20K to go to Clemson to play football.
For sure.
And he wasn't even considered one of the top athletes at his position, nor one of the top athletes in the state. But it was just, that's what it was.
Right.
I think we have a mix of people getting paid and also now the transfer rules changing to where there's a lot more movement in players.
For sure.
And so I think people are worried that it's going to almost be to where you're almost like a true free agency, or almost like a kid that's almost going to be like a hired gun.
Right.
Where he's going from school to school to school based on who can pay him at that particular time. And I think that's what they're worried about. But it is what it is. These kids now have the ability to sell their services to the best situation they think is for them. And I'm all for it.
Listen, they tried to get Van Linville up there with that twin.
Exactly.
And that twin said, I'm going back to Miami. I don't know who in
Yeah,
Miami
exactly.
called her, but they said, let me tell you what I got.
Yeah.
We put it in your hand.
Yeah.
I think I'm so amazed at the girls because I had $10 tickets.
Okay.
So season tickets were like 2 pennies, 2 shekels. And University of Texas girls did better than the boys.
Yeah.
By a long way.
Yeah.
And I was shocked when they walked, and this is not trying to scare the security or anything. We were standing outside talking with business owners right there.
Okay.
The girls literally walked from one building to the next, just no security, no nothing. And I'm like, you need security on these kids. Like, this is a big deal. Yeah. Like, there was one guy standing out there like, hey, can you take a picture of my kid? But they had one male coach walking with them, and he didn't even stop. He just kept on walking.
Yeah.
So I find that we want to say these kids are in school and they should be thankful for school. But I'm like, you're making a lot of money off these kids.
Definitely.
And so there should be some kind of more protection for them as far as educationally. Okay. I think as far as the money. Because $40K is a lot of money when you're 17.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, $40K when you're adult or $40K in 2-3 years when you're at school you may not like, that might be tough.
Yeah, definitely.
It might be tough.
Yeah, but we just got to see how the environment kind of rolls out. Because we talked about, what's the woman, the LSU gymnast? She's making millions at LSU, and she will probably not have the ability to make those type of millions once she leaves.
For sure.
So the question you asked again, like what projections or what education are we giving to the students to make sure they can maximize, but also hold on and continue to build what they've earned while they're in school?
You know what I got NIL certified by a particular company, and it was super fun to learn, the rules. But part of my biggest thing is I saw Gary V start Vaynerchuk Sports and go have an office in Chattanooga, Tennessee, many, many moons before anybody thought this was, like, why are you doing this? Why are you wasting money? But he could see on the horizon that it was going to turn. Yeah. It was going to be a free-for-all. Yeah. These kids need managers.
Yeah, definitely.
When I'm seeing kids, I go on their page and they're holding up shampoo bottles, and I'm like, who put this commercial together? Yeah. The worst. How can we push back on the narrative that it's going to bankrupt the South? Because we got a lot of big players out here in the South, but they act like we're going to bankrupt the South because we don't have money in the South to compete.
I mean, the money's always been here.
For sure.
I just think you can't. I don't think the system is going to go bankrupt because I just think people are going to pay what they have the ability to pay. Mm-hmm. But I just think the larger powers in the South, the Georgias, the Alabamas, the LSUs, maybe potentially the Tennessees, they're just going to figure out a way to compete in this new environment. I think aren't they bringing Texas to the SEC?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so they're just going to figure out how to compete in this new environment. But this has always been going on. It's just not over the table. I remember years ago looking at Alabama's balance sheet for the actual athletic program, and the boosters raised like $15 million just for the football program. So this type of stuff has always been going on. Sure. It's just now out in the open. Mm-hmm. But I don't think it's going to bankrupt the South. But I do think the smaller schools are going to have an ever-increasing, it's going to be more complex for them to try to compete. Because not only do they try to kind of compete from like a resource level with facilities and things of that nature, they will not have the money to pay for athletes. So what you saw when I was a little kid, you had a school like Miami come out of South Florida, private school, weren't really well funded, build a really, really strong program. That's impossible now. Right. Because you just don't have the money to pay the programs like you used to, especially sports like football, which are very expensive to play.
And I thought it's just football, but then they enlightened me to the University of Kentucky coach going over to Arkansas. And I said, why would he do that? He only has one player that stayed behind. Yeah. And they said Tyson Foods lives in Arkansas. Yeah. Along with Walmart. Yeah. And said, nah, I'm serious. Y'all gonna put somebody here. I'm gonna get the best. How much can you attract a kid to a place like Arkansas?
I mean, you can if, like I say, if so his thing, Calipari, we're talking about the guy that left Kentucky. Yep. His thing is one and done. Mm-hmm. So I think it could be attractive to a kid who knows his stock is that high, and he can sell himself on, really only got to do 6 months after school. Okay. So we tell the kid, hey, man, we'll give you $250,000. You only got to do 6 months because after the 6 months is over, you go on pro anyway. For sure. So you just got to go out there, do your practices, play ball. Maybe we make to the tournament, and then once the tournament is over, you come into Atlanta or you go into LA to work out to get ready for the draft. Okay. So I think that's his scenario. I think if he's going to be forced to try to build long-term with kids, it could be challenging. Okay. Because of the area, but you never know. If they build the right kind of facilities, if they create the right type of environment, you never know who wants to come in because they think it's that good. Because one thing about Arkansas, they got a really good track program. So they're able to bring athletes out there.
For sure.
Yes, ma'am.
Automation and artificial intelligence are changing the world forever. Without the correct skill set, you will become obsolete. My name is Dr. Patrick Dixon. I research how millions of people will lose their jobs unless they retrain.
They were calling it Arkansas Heartbait when it was football season.
Yeah.
And so I just love his face when they was walking him through the facility. He had that.
Yeah.
Like, it is what it is.
It is what it is. I mean, he because I think he was getting ready to get forced out of Kentucky.
Yep, he was about to be a wrap.
Exactly. So he just took the best opportunity that was for him, and it keeps him prominent. And we'll see what they do because he's going to bring a lot of attention to the program.
For sure.
We talk about Tyson. They got all the money in the world. They're major. They pretty much built out the whole Arkansas track program, built the indoor track, everything. So the money's there.
Right.
And if he's still going to do that one and done, format, just figure out how you want to sit here and just play for 6 months.
For sure.
And for the kid that wants to do that, it's not that big of a deal because so many of these young people, especially basketball, they're used to doing a lot of traveling. So they're used to being away from home anyway.
Right.
So it's just a short-term run.
Gotcha.
Yes, ma'am.
So one of the things that I when I saw him leave Kentucky, I felt like that was the closing chapter as a North Carolina person.
Okay.
UNC, Duke, NC State. We gonna be in the Final Four in Kentucky, and we gonna be there.
Yeah.
It's us always. That's not the truth anymore.
I feel you.
And so when NC State did their run this year, everybody was like, "What's going on? NC State out of all the schools, not Duke."
Yeah.
And when NC State made their run, it was almost like, man, it feel like 1983.
Yeah, I feel you.
They printed T-shirts that said 1983, and I said, that's how long it's been.
Yeah.
The tide has turned even in North Carolina. NC State, Duke, and Wake Forest are now football schools.
Yeah.
And I think that's also because Tech is there and saying, what's up with these football teams? I need some sprinkle here.
Yeah.
So I see, and I'm saying that because I look over and I see Juju Watkins, if I'm saying her name right.
Yeah, you said it.
And I'm just gonna be honest with you. I ain't paid no attention to LA.
Okay.
They be like, Ericka, the basketball and everything. I'm like, I ain't paid no attention.
Yeah.
And then I see this girl and I'm like, she crying. She 18. She did an amazing job.
Yeah.
They've got to do something out there.
Yeah.
To bring California stock up. Because if you tell me about basketball, I'm not even thinking California because I'm thinking Final Four. Who do I see in the Final Four?
Yeah.
I don't see no California.
Point teams. I
don't see no Cal State.
Yeah.
Yeah, you tell me about it, but I ain't seen them.
Yeah.
On the girl side, we saw the Caitlin Clark phenomenon.
Okay.
And my problem with this is we can't go Highlander.
Okay.
There can only be one.
I feel you.
And I feel that is the mistake the WNBA is getting ready to make.
Yeah.
They're going Highlander instead of Larry Bird, Magic Johnson.
Yeah, I feel you.
Like, who is her equal?
Yeah.
We can't just have this story where this girl comes in and dominates everybody in the league and it's just her and everybody else is just pieces on the table.
Yeah, I feel you.
When I watched the draft, which I've never watched the WNBA draft in my whole life, I was just like, okay, we got to take that other girl, right?
Yeah.
None of the teams had any clothing ready. They had no gear ready. They had no clothes ready. Is this a sign that this is going to be fizzle out in about 6 months?
It depends on how they roll it out. And you talked about before, how do they market this to keep the momentum?
Mm-hmm.
So they had the momentum with these stars, being big in college.
Yep.
How do we get their audience to follow them to the WNBA?
Mm-hmm.
And one of my biggest issues that I've had with the WNBA is I don't think they really understand how to market the product properly.
Right.
And maybe they're continuing to show that. So what we hope they don't do is they don't fumble this and lose the momentum. And in 2 years from now, we'll kind of right back where we started because they didn't take advantage. And I agree with you. Caitlin Clark, if we're going to make her the star, the focal point, she's going to need a nemesis.
Gotcha.
So then who's going to be her nemesis to where we can play them off of each other the way we did it with Bird and Magic and build up those rivalries and bring the attention to it. And then from there, we can build this whole thing out.
For sure.
But I think, again, if we focus it around just that one person, it really won't work as well. And then what happens if she gets hurt? Who else are we going to go to?
For sure.
So I think they need to create a format to where we have essentially almost a star in every market.
Mm-hmm.
We build that star up. And then we create rivalries like we saw early 2000s. We started watching NBA. Mm-hmm. Instead of them talking about the teams, they talked about the two individual players that they wanted to format. And they kind of need to start looking at that type of scenario. Yeah,
I saw Cameron, the goddaughter of Stephen Curry.
Yeah.
And she's so tall compared to all these women. She's like 6'9" or something. Literally, she's just swatting the ball down.
Yeah, I feel you.
And so they had all these great clips of her. And I'm like, okay, we need a second. There has to be a second and third.
Yeah.
And what conveniently happened that I thought was weird is the WNBA League Pass went down for Chicago Sky versus Minnesota Sphinx.
Yeah.
And I said, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I guess it's almost like they said, oh, well, watch the Caitlin Clark game. And there was a fan in the audience.
Okay.
He's not being punished. He just pulled his phone out. And phones are amazing quality at this point.
Yeah.
And he recorded and got 2 million views on this game. This is where I say they're fumbling.
Yeah.
This should be on main TV. If this man can get 2 million views on Twitter.
I feel you.
A dying platform at that.
Yeah.
We got a problem here. Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to a couple of the games. And prime example, I'm here in Atlanta. I went to the Dick's Sporting Good. I said, hey, can I get an Atlanta Dream shirt? Atlanta Dream was the most sold out women's sports season last year.
Okay.
All their tickets were sold out compared to other people's in other regions. So I'm like, okay, cool, great. Atlanta Dream shirt. Okay. They had one in the store.
Yeah.
And he had to go in the back to go find it.
Okay.
You're telling me that we're here in Atlanta and your team that's sold out, it's starting. Their season starts May 3rd.
Okay. There's
only one t-shirt in the whole store.
Yeah.
That's not sustainable.
Yeah. That
you can't tell me that this is I'm almost like, are the billionaires doing it to lose money? Is this a tax write-off?
I mean, you never know. I just like I said, I think their marketing plan, I'm not sure what it is, but I think they need to kind of figure it out because I don't want them to lose the momentum because they really had really good momentum because of the last 2 years, and they can maintain it and continue to build out. Just kind of figure out what do they want to take to WNBA, and are they committed to doing it, or are they just going to continue to have it to where it's going to be a loss for the particular NBA overall? They're going to keep financing it, but they really don't try to really get it to be a standalone league that's going to actually eventually be profitable.
For sure.
Yeah.
They said they're going to do expansion teams.
Okay.
Because there was already pushback saying there's really no space for these girls. They're going to get kicked off these rosters because let's just go there. These older women who are in their 30s and 40s are still playing.
Yeah.
One of the city's names was Houston.
Okay.
And I think we have a thing called the Houston Rock. Was it a Houston?
It was a Comets at that time.
Houston Comets.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you sign on a business owner to say, yeah, I'll be the expansion team owner?
You got to see the opportunity. What does that business owner get from being attached to that particular team?
Facts.
And the question is, can you get the eyeballs? Because if it's Classic Climb Arena or Classic Climb, you can literally put your name on the jersey. So we're going to be the Classic Climb, whatever. Can we get enough eyeballs to the game to where it makes sense for you to be that sponsor or it makes sense for you to be that owner?
Right.
Is it going to feature you prominently enough to where you want to put that type of investment in? Because not only got to pay to get it, you got to keep paying operating costs.
For sure.
Then can you attract, as the owner, advertising to it because you have the eyeballs there? And so that's what I says. I think they really want to kind of think about how they're going to position women's basketball. What's the goal of it? And can they come up with an angle? Because one thing about Stern in the 80s with the Bird Magic, then with the Michael Jordan, is he kind of understood where we want to take the game and how do I develop an angle around that? Because Jordan was a great player, but the NBA made him into somebody larger than life.
For sure.
And it was just marketing. Yes, ma'am.
So part of my thought process on that is we saw the scandal with FTC. What was it? The
FTX.
And they were able to put their name on a whole arena.
Exactly.
I said, well, how much does that cost?
Yeah, I feel you.
What's the number? We see PayPal on shirts. We see Venmo. We see different things on jerseys now. And so even in Austin, there's been a guy who's created a softball team.
Okay.
A women's softball team, a black baseball player, and they won last year.
Okay.
I didn't even know they existed.
Yeah.
And so I was like, wait a minute, what? University of Texas girls softball is really great. And some of those girls were like, yeah, we're going to go see the Texas Smoke. And I was like, who?
Yeah.
And so we have to figure out a way that if we say we respect women's sports, which clearly we aren't right now, there's been some silliness in women's college sports. But if we're saying we're respecting women's sports and we want to make money off of it, they've got to do better marketing on this.
Yeah, definitely.
They've got to do better. It shouldn't take a week for me to get an Angel Reese jersey to even be on the website.
Yeah.
Like if we know the draft is this day, can we even put up a fake something on the next day?
I feel you.
Because I ordered a Caitlin Clark shirt and they were like, "See you in July."
Yeah.
And then they finally said, "Oh no, we moved the dates up. We can get it at the closing room." But I was like, "That's after y'all got some money."
Yeah.
What are some of the things you see on the horizon? I know it's an election year, and I think people are just going to be football crazy this year.
Okay.
I think they're going to be extra football madness because they really don't want to deal with inflation.
Yeah.
They really don't want to deal with food costs. So they're going to be heavy on sports.
Okay.
When it was 2020, I felt like that.
Yeah.
I felt like people were heavy football in 2020. And it was because COVID. So they were like, let us go somewhere.
Yeah.
this year, the Houston Texans story.
Okay.
CJ Stroud. I think quarterbacks matter, but you still need all the pieces.
Yeah.
I feel like they're setting up Chicago Bears, Caleb Williams for a letdown.
Why you say that?
Because they like, we got the everything. We got it stacked to the brims.
Okay.
They didn't do that in Houston.
Yeah,
Last year they said, look, we're going to put him in there. We're going to try a little bit. And then he just was going.
Yeah.
Reverse, Chicago, I think, is trying to overmarket Harry. Hey, we didn't handle Justin Fields well.
Okay.
But look at all these people we got. We got it stacked. I feel that that's a bad move.
For Chicago, for Caleb Williams?
For both. Because I feel like that's a setup for a letdown.
I mean, we got to see, because, he's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
We got to put him out there and see what he does, but there has to be a long-term game plan for him. So they gave Justin Fields, 4 years? 4 years?
3 years.
They gave him 3 years. Yeah. Caleb Williams got to give him at least 3 to 4 years to see what he had, but he's stepping into a good group of people around him. So he has something to work with, so all the pressure's not going to be on him.
Right.
Stroud, and I told somebody this when they started him, Houston has a reputation of not supporting quarterbacks.
Yep.
So now that we know he's good, who are they going to bring down there to support him so he can continue to get better?
For sure.
And it comes down to, is the ownership committed to actually winning a Super Bowl, being at that elite level, because that's going to cost money, or, like you talked about before, football always is quarterback-centric. Mm-hmm. So are they just going to sell you, we got this really good quarterback as a way to keep attention on the team?
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? So we just got to see how it rolls out. But with Caleb, we got to see how it goes. But he's not coming into a terrible situation where there's nobody around him. So let's see how it plays out. Can he really play at this elite level? It's probably going to take 2 years to figure it out.
This is Brandy Williams, owner of Williams Accounting and Tax Services. We're located in McDonough, Georgia. For those who are in the Atlanta area, that is 75 South, exit 218, and make a right. We're a trilingual office. We offer services in Spanish, English, and Hindi. We also offer a tax course starting August 1st all the way through April 30th. It is bilingual. We service in Spanish and English.
The way they hyping this, I said, look now, y'all, don't do this.
Yeah.
Spare yourselves because the Bears.
I feel you. And they have to justify picking him that high. Yeah. So they got to make it seem like he's somebody because they picked him so high. He has to be somebody now.
He better figure it out and do it hard.
Yeah, I feel you.
What other things am I missing in the sports industry that you see that are standing out?
Oh, so you talked about before with this college thing, NIL, these collectives coming together to finance these players, really see how college football shakes out. Gotcha. We talked about you talked about before. I believe Texas has the ability to dominate. Mm-hmm. My question is, can they build the culture? Texas has always had money. It's never been an issue there. Yeah. Texas, they've got more money than you can spend. They're coming to the SEC, which already has a lot of money.
Yep.
But they'll probably be, maybe outside of Florida. I say Florida's gonna be underneath them, but probably be in the same league. I don't think anybody will be able to spend more money than them.
For sure.
The question is, can they build the culture in the SEC to dominate? Because one thing about the SEC, they're gonna play you.
For sure.
Some serious athletes out here on this side of the country. They bring in Texas out here. Texas got great athletes, but I just think they may not be familiar with the intensity of football in this particular part of the country. So I think that's what I'm really going to be looking for. Basketball-wise, I think the game is being hurt by one and done, but there's nothing you can do about it because the cat's already out of the bag.
For sure.
So, and again, I think people are going to focus more on sports because the economy is going to be doing worse. It's going to give them something to put their attention on.
For sure.
And that works good for sports leagues, and we know that's kind of what sports leagues are for here.
For sure.
Give people something to look at.
Give them some hope.
Yes, ma'am.
Get out there and cheer, buy some shirts.
Yeah, get them a good distraction for the weekend. Come back to work on Monday.
I feel like that's why they won't move to Buffalo Bills.
I feel,
because they don't know what to do with them people.
Exactly.
Them people gonna be up there riding.
Yeah.
Like, because the city got issues.
Yeah, same thing with B-More.
Oh, listen, I feel like I always talk about they rigged it. They did not want B-More in Detroit in no Super Bowl.
I feel you.
They said, we can't, it's too much.
Yeah, I feel you.
The city might have to shut down.
Yeah.
They'll be tearing this mug up. Detroit Lions this year.
Yeah.
Is it going to be repeat or is it going to be like, we knew it?
Let's see how it goes. Let's just see how it goes. They had a great year last year.
Yeah.
Let's see, can they keep it up? Because my thing is with that coach, if he gets offered a great opportunity, does he want to stay in Detroit? What is the opportunity for him to continue to grow as a coach because of the market there? So he did really well with not a small market team, but not the biggest NFL market.
For sure.
Did really, really well. Let's see if he decides to stay there long term because I don't think they're going to go on a New England Patriots type run.
For sure.
I just think they're going to be good.
somebody you compete.
It's somebody compete.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
does
yeah.
he want to stick around for that? Or does he want to go to a New York or go to a New England and go to a really, really big market that can pay him a lot of money, and he's going to be that guy?
Yeah.
Because of the TV market. Because you understand, when it comes to the NFL, if you're in the right media market, you're that guy just because you're in that market. So if Dallas puts the call in, does he go to Dallas just because it's Dallas?
It's Dallas.
You see what I'm saying?
It's Dallas.
That's what I'm talking about.
Like Jerry Jones, he like you.
Yeah.
You could be beating people up.
Exactly.
He don't care.
Yeah.
Come on back.
Yeah.
Because Ezekiel's back now.
Exactly.
I said, for what?
Because he like him.
He just running out of people to pick.
Yeah, he like him. Yeah, Jerry like you, gonna get paid.
Hey, you know what? Come on over here.
Yeah.
What's wrong with LA Clippers?
What do you mean? What's wrong with them?
Man, what happened?
What you mean?
They get all the way to the end. I'd be like, they're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
And then they just
think it's a lack of culture.
Okay.
Yeah, they've never really won at a high level.
Gotcha.
So I just think, and it's not an emphasis because the thing about LA with so many teams in that city.
Yeah.
They just really never really got that attention.
Got you.
It's been a Laker town and a Dodger town for so long. I don't think the expectations are that high. So there's not a lot of pressure on them. So pretty much anything they give you is gravy.
Right.
Yeah. So I just think that's the issue. There's really never been a culture they're really winning anything. I don't think there's an expectation. So pretty much anything they get, and they're kind of like I wouldn't say the stepchild, but they're kind of like not the main thing in LA. And it doesn't matter what they do. I don't think they're ever going to be the main thing.
It's crazy because they had Blake Griffin all those years. Now they got, how many stars you need?
Yeah,
you have Kawhi Leonard. You got Paul George. You have Harden with the beard.
Exactly.
You've got Westbrook, who's kind of like, he on a journeyman at this point, right?
right?
I feel bad for him, but not really because he getting paid.
Exactly.
But he get paid for that. But it's like, what more could you need?
Yeah.
It's not like it's Phoenix where you got, Chris Paul was just old. I don't care what you say. Devin Brooks is throwing up all these numbers.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I can't never get behind Kevin Durant. It's just like thin leg Susie. I don't know what he's doing. I don't understand his appeal. They be like, Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
I'm in Austin. Don't boo me.
Okay.
I get it. We have Kevin Durant painted in the Moody Theater Stadium. He's like on the wall. I get it. But with NBA Durant, I don't know what's going on there. That's pretty much, I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay, all right.
Because I can't think of any other teams. Like, I'm from Carolina, but it's embarrassing right now.
Okay.
So we got Tepper.
Yeah.
Just because you're a billionaire.
Yeah. I forgot, I like that wide receiver they drafted from South Carolina. But they just got to figure out what they're going to do with quarterback.
He real country. I love it.
Yeah. I told my brother-in-law I thought that guy was too small to play NFL football. But because he had such a good career at Alabama, I think they went with it. But he's just tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a big guy.
They got to figure something out.
Yeah, they got to figure something out.
Because I don't think he's terrible.
No, I don't think so either.
I think it's the program.
Yeah, you're right. And then, again, with Tepper, so much money, does he care?
Well, he's throwing tantrums.
That's what I'm saying.
He got mad one time. You're like, hey, get him out of here.
Okay.
He got to go sit down in the back.
Okay,
He's firing people. He in person.
Okay, so let's see how that works. Yeah, because I would always be worried about a guy that's just that sex successful.
Right.
Does he care? But let's see how it plays out. Because they had a really good team early on in their run. But it hasn't really worked out lately.
Right.
Yeah.
Luke Kuechly was the best they ever had.
Exactly.
I know he was like, I can't. Y'all doing too much.
Yeah,
I gotta go. On that last note, Cam Newton, what's wrong with your Cam Newton? He down here in Atlanta.
Just trying to transition out of football. That's really what it is. Trying to figure out what to do now that he's not able to play.
For sure.
And I think he's trying to build a name in media.
For sure.
And so I think let's see how that works out for him. It's very competitive. I think he's trying to do similar to what's Pat guy?
Pat McPhee.
Trying to do something similar, but the issue is that's not going to work for everybody because we've seen Pat do it. So let's see, can he do it? Is he willing to put the time in? But I just think he's relatively still young, just trying to figure out what his next stage of life is going to be. Yeah. And I just think that's what he's trying to do.
He about to get to he had 8 kids now.
Yeah.
Brother, I'm going to need you to slow it down.
I feel you.
Slow it down. Pick a thing.
Yeah.
But you guys, I hope you enjoy our sports segment.
Definitely.
I'm a big sports fan. I think, I have a healthy love for it.
Yeah.
I have over 20 boy cousins, so it's just we're gonna be watching sports. It's just as it is. So you guys, this is your girl Ericka Williams from the Classy Climb blog with my co-host,
Diamond Dave. Talk to y'all later. Be easy.
All right.